Okay, here's a quick tutorial on how to begin the editing of your video in Final Cut. Going to assume that you already have some clips that you have downloaded from the camera. Those have been downloaded and they're now sitting in the browser window. Quick tutorial here just to get you introduced to the screens. This is the browser where your individual clips reside. This is a viewer window. We can use this window to preview our clips. So one of the first things you're probably going to want to do is just look at your different clips, sort them, and pick the best ones. So I can double click on any clip and it will open up here in the viewer window. I'll come back to that in a moment. Over here we've got the canvas window or the sequence window, and this shows us what our video is going to look like as a final product. What's going to happen here, we're going to be able to edit our clips, trim our clips in the middle here, and then they're going to be moved down to the timeline to actually create our video. Since I'm adding this clip for the first time, it wants to adjust our project settings to match the clip. I'm just going to say yes. And so you'll see now that I've got a video now showing in the canvas window. This is our final output, what our video is going to look like in the end. I'm just going to delete this clip, and let's go back for a second to this window here, to the viewer window, and have a look at some of the controls here. We can play back a video in this viewer window. And you'll notice that this yellow triangle is moving along. That's the playback head. If I pause or stop the video, you'll see the playback head stops. I can also pick this up and drag it around with the mouse. We've got some other controls here to adjust the playback position too. I've got a jog wheel here that I can move back and forth. Okay, I've also got another control here that I can click and hold to move it forward or backward. You can also adjust the position of the playback head frame by tapping the arrow keys on the keyboard. So now I'm tapping the left arrow key and it's moving one frame, single frame at a time. Typically with your clips, you're going to find that there might be a portion of the clip you want to use, but not necessarily the whole clip. So if that's the case, play your clip through. Let's assume that we want to start it in this position here. I'm going to tap the letter I on the keyboard for in point. Okay. Alternatively, I could set the in point with this little icon right down here, but tapping I on the keyboard is the fastest way, and you'll notice that puts a small marker now on the clip. That's when the clip is going to start playing. That's the in point. I'm going to move ahead here a little bit further on, and this is where I want my clip to finish, so I'm going to add an out point, in and out. So now I have trimmed the clip. I've defined an in point and an out point for the clip, and now I'm ready to drag it and add it to my timeline, add it into my video. I can add it in one of two ways. I can either drag it directly down onto the timeline, or you can also drag it over toward the canvas window, and you'll notice this little heads-up display menu appears here. We've got some different options here depending on whether or not we want to insert the video into the timeline. That will push other clips if they're there ahead. We can overwrite any existing video that might be in the timeline or replace. We can also fit in a clip to fill a gap or superimpose it on top of other video. For now, I'm just going to choose to insert. And now we can see the clip's been inserted in our timeline. If we want to add in another clip, it's just a matter of coming in, locating what might be our second clip. This clip appears to be moving a bit. Maybe we'll opt for... Okay, here's a good example where the beginning of the clip we can see the tripod move a bit and then the zoom starts. So I'm going to actually back it up and have the clip start just as the zoom is beginning. And then have it stop. Tap O for out point, so I've defined an in and an out point, and now I can drag that clip again either right onto the timeline or I could insert it over this way. And now if I play back my main timeline here, you can see I've got both clips and an edit in between. This area in between the two clips is known as an edit point. We can have different types of transitions between edits. Right now the transition is called a cut, where the video simply cuts from one image to the next. If you right-click on the area of the edit, This dialog will open up for adding a cross dissolve. That's one of the most common transitions in video. Actually, I guess cut is the most common. This would be the second most common, which is a cross dissolve, where one clip will fade into the next. There are lots of other optional transitions. If I select the edit point up under the effects menu under transitions, use these cautiously. A lot of them will give you sort of unprofessional looking results. Okay. If I were you, I'd stick with just the straight cut or cross dissolve. Something else you're going to want to do in your video is add a simple title. That can be accomplished really easily. If I want to put a title in between these clips, I'm just going to move this one ahead. Make some room for a title to go in here. And to create a title, simple title, click on this little icon here on the viewer window. We've got options here for adding in a block of color or some title bars or color bars. I'm just going to add a simple piece of text. That opens up a sample piece of text here in the viewer window. I can click under Controls and quickly change that text. So this might be Zoom by Andy. We can adjust any of the font controls, sizing, positioning here. If I click back in the video tab, we'll see it's just a simple centered title. No need to get complicated. And if I want to add that title to my video, simply drag it down and add it into the timeline. We can adjust its length here. So we can adjust the length of clips in or out by just clicking near the edge of the clip. Back this one up. And if I play the video now, we'll see the title show up on screen. And the title is going to finish up, and our clip starts. If I want to add some transitions to make this a bit smoother, I could add a cross dissolve to the beginning of this, and a cross dissolve at the end of the title, so that now the title neatly fades in and fades out. And I may want to do the same on my clip, so that we've got the title fading out and the shot appearing. Finally, if you wanted to have your title over top of the video clip, that's possible too. Simply drag it up into an empty video track up above. I moved it ahead a little bit. So first we'll have the video fade in, and then the title shortly afterward. Okay. So you want to trim all your clips first, arrange them in the timeline in the order that you'd like, add in the titles toward the end. When you're finished with your project, you may want to mute the audio if you're not interested in hearing any of the sound. These two little icons here will mute the audio if you like. You're welcome to add in other audio in behind if you like. For that, you can go to the Import File option and import an MP3 file. If you're ready to export your video and upload it to YouTube, you can head to the File menu, ask to export using QuickTime Conversion. QuickTime Conversion will format the video in with H.264 compression, so I can quickly check under Options here. We notice that H.264 is selected. That'll compress the video, make it nice and small and ready for uploading onto YouTube.